Tonight, we're going to take you inside the head of a madman. And by a madman, I mean an Eagles fan. Coming up next on Command This.
Tonight.
Yeah. Let's welcome our friend, Mr. Terrance, to the show, a.k.a. I guess we call you Mean Green.
Yes. Thank you all for having me, man.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. Hey, it's your boy Steve for the audio crowd. We got Phil and we got Dev coming at you for another Thursday live stream. Thursdays usually our game preview. We call it Enemy Intel. What you say, Dev?
So why I got sound like Dub C? Yay.
Little West Side.
Almost fell on live TV.
You need to mute your mic, boy. So, hey, Eagles preview tonight. We are joined by our friend Terrance. We call him Mean Green. Friend of mine. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. And for the audio crowd, please tune in. Video crowd, like and subscribe. Go hit the YouTube channel. It really helps us out. We really appreciate you. Before we get started, Yam in Japan, thank you very much. Overseas fan coming in live. All right, let's get started. Hey, Terrance, no matter where you're from, this side, that side, inside, outside, Washington, not Washington, we always want to know what are people's fan stories. So clearly you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. So tell us how you became a fan of your team.
Oh man. So first of all, I was born in New Jersey, South Jersey, Camden. I was raised here in the Maryland area. My dad, he is a diehard Eagles fan. I used to see him wearing that classic. That's why I'm wearing it tonight. He used to wear that classic logo field jacket, back when Buddy Ryan and them was doing their thing out on the field with I even got the jersey with me tonight, got the Reggie White behind me. And I just enjoyed everything that they do with the team, with the franchise. They, everybody's always bashing them, feeling like they're not worth it, they're not worthy of, being a championship contender type of team. And I just grew to love the underdog team, and I just wanted to go ahead and be a part of that. And I just love the fact that my dad, shout out to my dad, he's online right now, and I just wanted to just continue to just be a part of that and just show like, hey, I'm going to bleed green all the way through. And I've been riding with them ever since. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't even matter. I love everything about this organization. I love everything about the city. It's just everything to me, man. And I couldn't respect another franchise more than my Philadelphia Eagles.
You are muted, Steve.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I said, what do you think about some of the movies made over the years? We had a couple movies made about the Philadelphia Eagles. The one with Mark Wahlberg,
Invincible,
and I think there was not one more, but there was another one I thought that made kind of related to Philly, but not related to Philly.
Brokeback Mountain. That's the one.
There's a lot of rich history in Philadelphia, some of those sports movies, but
there was that awful Disney movie with Tony Danza in it.
Yeah, I didn't really catch that one. I definitely did catch Invincible. But the movies that definitely stick out to me when it comes to Philadelphia is I'm a big Sylvester Stallone fan. But Rocky. I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, it's cliche," but no, Rocky. I could sit there and I could watch Rocky's training montages all day long. They just inspire me to get me motivated. And I just love the fact that they use that when they get ready to play the game, and they just sit there and they say, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to show this city that we got a heart, we got the spirit, we got the pride, and we're going to have that fight. I mean, everybody knows Philadelphia is a fighting city. It's a boxing city. So we're going to go out there in round one, and we're going to go all the way out there for 12 rounds. Of course, in football, it's 4 rounds, and we're going to give it everything that we got. And I absolutely love it.
All right, the question then, what's your favorite Rocky movie? That's a big debate amongst this crowd.
My favorite Rocky movie is Rocky 4.
That's what I said.
Yes. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
Big Red Machine. So when Rocky, it's so funny because I was just sitting there watching it probably like a couple of weeks ago. I was watching Rocky 4. I even watched the director's cut. I love the director's cut because everything is raw and gritty. You don't hear the sound effects add-ins that they had with the original movie. So when you hear Drago hitting the punching bag when he's running, when they're doing the training, you actually hear the real live effect of a punching bag. But just Rocky being just like saying like, you know what, I have to do this. I got to go out there. I gotta show them that I'm going to fight for my country. And I'm going to fight for Apollo Creed's death. It just brought something to me, and just seeing him out there just training real hard with nothing around him. He's in a hostile environment, and he just went out there and did exactly what he had to do in order to get the job done. And that is my favorite training montage. I literally play that song when I'm in the gym working out, and it just gets me there when I sit there and I listen to that. But Rocky 4 by far is my best Rocky movie of all time.
I agree with you. By the way, man, we can't get beat now, man. I just realized something. We just lost already. We already lost to RoboCop in Detroit. We can't lose to two fictional.
That's right.
Two fictional heroes, man.
Oh man,
OCP a movie, dog.
OCP took us down, and so it wouldn't be a Philly game if, of course, we didn't have some friendly banter. So our boy Fred Brown, there he goes. PH gives you the PH. Yam hits you with the hearts on fire. Hearts on fire. That's the montage. Yeah, it gets me every time too. Okay, so coming into 2022, here we are. Your team is 2-0. Our team is 1-1. NFC East seems to be on the up and up compared to some previous years, but the Eagles are getting a lot of hype, especially after Dak went down. A lot of people are pointing as Eagles might have the favorite to win the division. So that being said, just in a nutshell, tell us who you think the 2022 Eagles are like. What is their identity? Who are they trying to be, especially compared to last year, or maybe I guess last year was Sirianni's first year. So compared to last year, this year, who are the 2022 Eagles?
Philadelphia is Philadelphia. That's pretty much all I can say. It's a hard fighting, strong team. Win, lose, or draw. They're going to go out there and they're going to give it their best. Now, every season we're not looking too good. There's a couple of flaws. Sometimes it's coaching, sometimes it's players. But every time I look at this team, I always look at them and say, like, they have the will to win, but I just got to see them put it out there on the field. This year, I've seen some growth in Jalen Hurts. I really do believe that he is starting to get over that quarterback curve. He didn't have the tools last year that he needed, but it looks like he did what he had to do during the offseason to make sure that he was able to put in the work in order to make sure that his receivers are getting the ball. Having A.J. Brown is a big deal because you have that veteran threat on the outside, and then to go along with it, you have Devontae Smith, who was our number one receiver last year, and of course he broke Deshaun Jackson's record. We'll get into that one later, but it's just remarkable to see him actually growing into the quarterback position. I still need to see more from him because the Vikings the Vikings played a soft defense on Monday night. So I have to see him actually go up against a defense that's going to give him, more pressure in his face. Prime example, let's look at the wild card game when he played Tampa Bay.
Right.
They put pressure on his face. He didn't know what to do. He was throwing the ball all over the place. I don't see that from him this year. He's actually taking time. The pocket is actually gathering around him to make sure that they're giving him that protection. And having a healthy line is definitely your number one thing that you want to have. And it definitely looks great. Oh, hi, Mom. But I just definitely want to just see more from him. And but I've been saying this all season.
Right.
If you have all the tools around you, offense, defense, it starts with the quarterback. It starts with him. And so far so good. I've seen that, but we got 15 more games left to play in this league. So, week 3, we'll see what happens, and then we'll just keep going on from there.
That's fair. And we talk a lot. And I told Phil, Phil shared we over the summer, I was asking you about Jalen Hurts a couple times. You're like, I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's the guy.
I still feel that way. Just
like you said,
Hurts, man.
I like him too, man. He's on my fantasy.
I think he improves every year. It's something I've always admired about him, even in college.
He improves for the first 7 games, and
man,
then
he improves. He improves every year, man. Look at him, even going back from Alabama to Oklahoma State, man. Like he gets better every year, man. Every time they ask him to do something, takes it up, and he seems to be what I like the most about him is a really good leader, and people galvanize around him. And those are things that they were saying Wentz didn't do well, which I don't. Looking at it now, I don't really believe. But who knows what Wentz was like in 2018, 17 and stuff, you know. But
absolutely. And I definitely agree with that. You know, see me, a lot of people they hit me on this, and it's probably a couple of my buddies that are probably watching this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and still say it anyway. I was a big Carson Wentz fan. I was rooting for him. I wanted him to succeed, you know, big guy, strong arm, and he just looked like he just wanted to go out there and just do what he had to do. I just feel like once he got that injury in that Super Bowl run we had in 2017, I just felt like his progression just went down because he just felt like no one, he felt like the team wasn't his anymore. Whereas if he just sat back and just allowed himself to just heal, go through the process, and just realize like, hey, you know what? Things happen. Let me just take a step back and get myself together. But he wanted to rush himself out there, and then rushing himself out there, you know, creates more injuries. And that's why now everyone looks at him as an injury-prone quarterback. I like what he is doing in Washington right now. I'm definitely one of the ones that does like what he is doing in Washington right now, because when I saw the first game, I really thought that Doug Peterson was really going to be like, hey, I know you, so I'm going to do what I have to do against you. But he didn't let that mess him up. You know, he went out there, he put up 4 touchdowns in that game, and I think 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he still has some great stats, and he rallied that team to win. Especially when he had that one shot into the end zone, and when he was in the red zone, you know, to your wide receiver, I think it's number 1, and right in the back of the end zone, he caught the ball, and it was just like his accuracy is still there. He can still see the field. He knows what's going on. I just have to just make sure, like, you know, from a fan, I look at it as, can you keep that going for the remainder of the season? When he played in Indianapolis last year, I was rooting for him in Indianapolis because I felt like, hey, you're with Frank Reich. This is the guy that had you going in 2017. This is the offense that you need to be a part of. You know, he got his revenge in week 1, but I still feel as though that if he beat the Jaguars in week 18 or 17, you go on to the playoffs as a wild card and you're good to go. But he just stunk up the place in that last game of the season. But like I said, I never lost hope in him. I really just continue to look at him and say, hey, keep doing your thing. Everything's going to be fine. He just has to get that out of his mind that, you know, hey, you know, this is my team. I am a good quarterback. I can't get this job done. But again, like I said, with Jalen Hurts, it all starts with you. Starts with the quarterback. Starts at the head of the snake. And if you take out the head of the snake, game's over.
Yep. Let's get some of the comments here real quick. Hey, welcome, Rep the Dish to the show. Our boys Nathan, Trevin, Stoner, thanks for tuning in. Said people have been talking up Philly like they're the 72 Dolphins. There's a couple of people out there who are on the Philly hype train. But they also went on to say, I'm glad people are coming around on Hurts. Don't want him to get too hyped, though. Still got room to develop. I think, Dev, you kind of said the same thing, you know. And our boy Fred Brown said, Phil, I'm with you. They soft. Hurts going to be hurting on Sunday. And welcome, Marcus Edlin. Go check out our brother Marcus on Facebook. He's got his Facebook group called Sports View 2. And he said, welcome, Mean Green. Yam said, it's wild, too, how so many people hold up that awful Jacks game is like the defining Wentz game when the truth is more of an outlier. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. But I'm glad you talked about Carson Wentz.
Outlier.
Wentz didn't give up 500 yards from rookie quarterback, bro. I mean,
no, he
said
did.
He said what you want to say.
Yeah, and I'm glad you talked about Carson Wentz. I was going to ask about that later. Like, you know, you're probably in the forums. You're probably in the you know, the chat rooms and stuff. You seem to like Wentz still. Is there a general consensus about how Philly fans feel from Wentz? Because he didn't say I quit, I'm leaving. Like, we traded for him. So just like we traded for Donovan, and it didn't boo him at first, they booed him later. But and we know FedEx is going to be crowded with green and black. It's gonna be happening. Now, I guess if you're gonna be there, from your prediction, do you think he's gonna get a big old boo starting out, or will it be like Donovan? He'll probably get it later on.
It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be nasty. So I've been to. This will be my third Washington game at their stadium, and every time I've gone there, it's been nothing but a sea of green, white, and black jerseys. And this time around, I just read on a dirt sheet somewhere. Matter of fact, today at work that there's a Philadelphia group that's going to be busing in 20 buses to the stadium this Sunday. It's about to be it's about to be nasty. So he's going to get booed. It's going to feel like. Bottom line is Carson's going to have 2 away games. When he plays Philadelphia, because this is about to be a home game for Philadelphia, and it's about to be when they play us again towards the end of the year. It's going to be another away game for him. So all I got to say is buckle your chin strap because they're coming.
It's gonna, Phil and I last year we were not in the hunt, but we played Dallas, and it was the end of the year, wasn't it, Phil? It was December sometime. It
was like we'd make it if there was a miracle.
Yeah, and it was practically a Dallas home game, but we almost came back and won that game too. So I know what it's like being taken over. And yeah, Marcus said he heard about that show, that bus on the the bus on the Doc Walker show too. But man, so there's a lot of hype behind the team. There really is. I mean, they're a good start, 2-0. I mean, Giants are 2-0 too. They're a very quiet 2-0. But you guys are at the top of the NFC. We are tied with I think Cowboys are 1-1 also, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So
I just, man, I gotta say this. You're such a reasonable, nice Philly fan. You're kind of blunting the edge of my normal fire and hate that I have for Eagles fans. And I will say, it's Eagles fans have earned every bit of that from how they've approached me. So I really do. I mean, and I understand that if I lived in Philly, I would get on the first bus out of there too for any reason possible. All right. I could go on. I mean, I've been to Philly to see us play them. I've traveled. By the way, when we have something to play for, we travel to Philly pretty well.
Yeah.
I was there in 2015.
You were? So quick story about that. So I was there also, and I wish my wife was down here right now. So I went to the game. I just came back from Afghanistan, and so I bought tickets. I got them on a 50-yard line. I'm literally right underneath Jeffrey Leary in the owner's box. And long story short, it was the day after Christmas. It was a Saturday night game, and I remember it was the fourth quarter, and I told my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, and I said, if they score on this next drive, we're leaving. Touchdown!
Was this the Pierre Garçon okey doke or the okey doke fade to the corner that Kirk threw? We won the division on that game.
Yes, that's exactly the play.
Did we ever ask him about that when he came on the show?
Yes. So we had Pierre Garçon on the show last year.
Yeah.
And this was the game where Kirk did the kneel down before halftime. If you don't remember that,
I remember that. And he was arguing with the refs, like, "Hey, what?" And it was like, "Dude, it's halftime now."
Yes,
but
that was good time.
Pierre explained it. That was apparently like some sort of thing where I don't know. Kirk did it because what he wanted to do and what was being called and everything else. Like there was some weird miscommunications. Kirk was like, "F it, I'll just kneel down," which probably in the end maybe not the worst thing he could have done in that situation if you don't know what's going on and nobody knows what's going on. But I was at that game. I had an entire section just giving me the asshole chant the entire time. To which I just stood up and started doing this because I'm the firebrand. I gotta do that. I had one of your fans try to fight me going into the bathroom after that D'Angelo return. He was about 5'4" and 5'4" around. He was a bit of a bowling ball.
He's eating those cheesesteaks, huh?
Oh, well, don't get me started on the cheesesteaks at the link. They're awful. I paid $16 a cheesesteak for the driest meat you've ever seen, in a bun you could build a house with.
Shout out to Larry's in Philly and Jim's Steaks. Yeah.
Nah.
Those are the best places to go after it.
I got a guy who's a Philly native. He's got all of his Eagles and Flyers stuff up all over his bar, but he does make actual authentic Philly cheesesteaks. I will stick to that. I will not buy Philly cheesesteaks at the Link ever again. That was $64 of my money. That was horrible. I literally could not eat. I had to put ketchup on it just so I had something to lubricate it going down because it was that dry. And that's like committing a crime against God to put ketchup on a cheesesteak.
Should take one of those $17 beers up there from Washington.
Yeah, but those are King cans. That's 2 beers for the price for $17 basically.
Hey, Terrance, this is when we had Pierre on.
Another defender.
Y'all hear this?
So I'm like, Coach, that's not like and I'm like, Kurt, let's throw the fade instead of the backtrip. Just change the mindset of it.
Look, man,
it was a lot of miscommunication.
This is the halftime one. Oh, so frustrating.
This right here
Kirk is a young quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is saying one thing, I'm saying one thing. Players, at the end of the day, players, we talk. We're like, hey, I feel this. Do it.
Yeah.
Kirk got nervous.
That was the catch you were talking about.
Yeah, I told my wife, I said we're going home.
And whisper a moment.
Right there. Thurman. That was on Thurman.
Man, you guys only knew what happened in the locker room.
Good times.
Yeah, that right there was that just brought me back down memory lane, and I just remember the look on my face, and every other Eagles fan that just had that look of disgust, just like, should I leave and go beat traffic, or should I just stay here and watch this? I'm leaving. I'm beating traffic.
Yeah. Well, Yam says, and you've been in this era for a long time, and he said the problem with FedEx, too easy for NFC East teams to get here. Mine is Dallas because they're all here. It's not that far from Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. And he further goes on and says we had the DMV residents, all the bandwagon Dallas fans. We call them
transients. Nobody in the DMV is from the DMV anymore. Everybody came here to go work for the contractors.
NBDs. We call them NBDs. Never been to Dallas. There's actually a song called about the NBDs, about all the Dallas fans in the DMV who've never been to Dallas, but couldn't pick out any other spot. Couldn't pick out Dallas on the map. But hey, it is what it is. Yam also says back in 2018 that in Virginia they put out stats that there are more people living in Virginia, especially around Nova, that weren't born there, are native Virginians. Yeah, it's just a byproduct of this area, man. What else can you do?
When I used to work in DC, that was the big thing that I used to hear all the time. DC stands for Dallas Cowboys. And I just look at people like, really? I was like, I could have sworn this was a Washington Redskins town at that time. But it just baffles me when I just see so many Dallas Cowboys fans in the DC area, and it's just like, wow. It's like, really? It's like, I get the rivalry and the hatred for one another and what have you, but yeah, it just really just makes me sick when I sit there and I see that, and I'm just like, really? Yeah. I just can't do it.
You were talking about Jalen Hurts earlier. He right now, if you know what Pro Football Focus is, he's the number 2 ranked, and we take these with a grain of salt, but it is a tool. But Jalen Hurts is the number 2 Pro Football Focus in his right under Josh Allen and right above Joe Flacco and Kyler Murray. So that just tells you the stats are a little skewed up the first 2 games, but he is where he is. And A.J. Brown's sitting at number 3 behind Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, and he's right above Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson in PFF. And our closest guy is Curtis Samuel. He's down at 36. And then for halfbacks, Miles Sanders is at 8, and we have Antonio Gibson at 17. So that's just a quick PFF rundown. I didn't get the tight ends yet.
Cool stat, Steve.
What's that?
Jahan Dotson was leading the all rookies in contested catches.
Oh, okay.
And touchdown. He's tied. I think he's tied for the league lead in touchdown receptions too.
That's 4, right?
That's promising.
Yeah.
Promising.
And then of course, Jalen Hurts is leading number 1 in rushing as a quarterback.
Yep.
That's going to continue to keep happening because he's always going to put his foot in the ground and he's going to keep running. And that's what makes him a dual threat, because now he's able to get the ball out there, and he was always able to use his legs. A lot of things that I'm hearing right now, and if a couple of my buddies, we talk about this all the time, but he doesn't have Mike Vick speed. He doesn't have Lamar Jackson speed. He has Jalen Hurts speed. And yes, prime example, when he did that 24-yard run on Monday Night Football, it was poor tackling, but at the same time, those guys just couldn't bring him down. He's just a big guy, for a quarterback. He's not Cam Newton big because Cam was tall.
Right.
Cam was tall and he was lean. But for Jalen Hurts' height and his build, like he's a really stocky big dude, to bring down.
6'1", 225. That's pretty good. Lean
and
too.
he actually put on weight this offseason, so that way, of course, he could take more blows because he knew he was going to get hit because he's going to run the ball. But doing that, you just got to watch out for that because at the end of the day, all it takes is one hit in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it.
Our guy Marcus is in Kentucky. He says in Louisville, Kentucky, there's 3 Dallas Cowboys headquarters sports bars. They're like roaches. Yam says, now Mean Green, the same thing happens to the Wizards. It's bad. Yeah. Like there's so many foreign people that go to Wizards games just because they're bored and want something to do, plus fans of other teams. That's the truth. That's the truth. But yeah, Wizards games are cheap. So are you a Philly fan through and through, or do you have some separation?
Through and through, man. Okay. Before we came on the podcast, I was watching the Phillies and the Braves going at it. It was 1-0 at the time. I'm a diehard 76ers fan. I love the 76ers. It's so funny because
I'm a Knicks fan.
It's so funny because we just picked up what's her face? He was y'all center back in the day.
On the Sixers?
No, for he was the center for the Wizards, and now he's with the 76ers, and him and Embiid, they don't like each other. And now it's like now they're on the same team with one another.
Monroe, not Monroe, but the other dude.
Yeah, I want to say Martrell. I think that's his name.
Nah, you talking about Montrezl Harrell?
We had Montrezl Harrell. We had him.
Yeah, Montrezl Harrell.
He's in jail, right? Ain't he in jail?
No. So what happened was they bust his conviction down to a misdemeanor. So he only has to pay
big guy, tall,
he got caught with pounds, right? And they knocked it down to a misdemeanor.
They
come on, bro. What is going on?
The devil's lettuce, man.
Hey, where I'm from, either somebody is snitching or it's because they got a whole lot of money and they still snitching.
Well, look, the conversation they were actually having a good conversation, him and the police officer before his partner found, they're like, oh yeah, there's some marijuana in the car. And it was like, yeah, you're going to go down. Then it just so happened, it was like, you know what, we're going to bust this down to a misdemeanor. And it was like, wow. It was felony charges, and then all of a sudden went to misdemeanor. Like
it was a pound or more, some crazy amount, man. That's like T.I. getting caught with like machine guns, AK-47s and stuff as a felon. And it just disappears to a misdemeanor.
Marcus said he's like slightly faster Donovan McNabb. Yeah, Donovan McNabb was 240 though. He's a little bit heftier.
Because I was just about to say, which McNabb we talking about?
Are we talking McNabb or your McNabb?
I was like, are we talking about year 2000 McNabb when he came to FedEx and he did the little juke move and he ran into the end zone and he beat? I'm sorry, I got to bring up stats now.
They're talking about Syracuse national championship McNabb, man. With the tiny afro.
He was 223 coming out of college. I just looked that up.
We're talking about the drunk McNabb, the one that lost all the weight from alcohol poisoning. McNabb, that one. That's the one.
Yam said the O's get it bad too, just because of how easy it is to get to Camden Yards with the train, light rail lines. Yeah, Philly, they come down from Yankees always make their way down from New York to and Boston too into Camden Yards, but
they hop on that MARC train and keep it moving.
Yeah, they sure do. I mean, but that's just how this area is, how the East Coast is. It's so easy to get from point A to point B, and hey. Just like you said, you made it up to Philly. Phil went up to Philly. You know, I've been out to Dallas once, the old Dallas Stadium, just because I was stationed out at Fort Bliss. It was much easier, but I really haven't ventured out to too many other stadiums. Phil has some balls. I probably wouldn't go to Philly personally. I see what they do when they come to you, but
don't give a fuck.
Hey, they are passionate.
And like I said, I mean, I had a Philly fan. We won that game, and I had a Philly fan literally. Like I had and this is why I forever will always have a thing against Philly sports fans. When I say Philly sports fans, I'm talking about the from Philadelphia and act like they're from Philadelphia sports fans. Literally, my son and my girlfriend time her son to go around finding anybody wearing burgundy and gold, and they're high-fiving because, hey, for the first time in 3-4 years, we had won a division title. They got to see it live. They're excited. And some Philly fan turns around and says, I hope you and your whole family die in a fiery car crash on the way home.
Wow.
God dang.
And I turned around and I said, but we'll die champions.
Yeah.
Them niggas in Philly beat up Santa Claus, bro. I mean, what you gonna they beat up Santa Claus in Philly.
Everybody want to bring up the snowball, the
batteries and the snowballs.
Beating up Santa Claus. It's like,
it ain't just Santa Claus. Y'all have done it to opposing teams too. Philly fans, and then they hate it when they're like, we're not like that. It's like, all right, y'all the ones had that song that says nobody likes us and we don't care. Don't tell me that Philly fans are the epitome of class.
Hey, we're from Philly. We're from Philly. No one likes us. We don't care.
Yep. When I was in Iraq, 2006, 2007, I was there for 15 months on a deployment. Terrible, terrible time. But 2 football seasons went by because I got there in August and I didn't leave till December the next year. But I had a colleague there who was a diehard Phillies fan. I was Redskins fan at that time. And in 2006, we lost. We won one and we lost one that year. So, but the loser had to stand up in the dining facility in front of everybody and sing the other team's fight song. So I had to sing "Fly Eagles Fly." It was. I'm still traumatized to this day. And he sent it back to the news in Philadelphia, and they played it like on some Channel 7 news shit. I still have the clip somewhere in my email. I have the clip, but man, I'll never forget that time. Oh my God.
Well, you see, if you could have done something similar and sent that to the news here in DC, except for the fact that they wouldn't play it because, well, it would be supportive of the team.
They have class.
True.
By the way, anyone knows that Scott Abraham is now riding Carson Wentz's jock?
Oh, yeah.
After
So
what he did in that interview, and now Carson's out here playing well, and now he's all like, "Oh, look how great he is." Blah, blah, blah. We're like, dude, we remember.
Did you hear that about that interview over the late summer that this dude named Scott Abraham, local media, basically sat with Carson in a chair one-on-one after a practice and was like, so how did it feel to be basically thrown away in Indianapolis? And then now you're here. And what if we throw you?
He basically said, Philly didn't want you. Indianapolis didn't want you. So how does it feel to be here? Is the long and the short of it. I'm like, whoa. First of all, he's been answering that question all damn summer. And now you're just going to say it like that?
He handled it with class.
The way I look at it, from the Philadelphia standpoint, is we got this young up and coming quarterback. So we got too much money that we paid this guy, and he's injury prone. So we got to make a business decision. So they went ahead and made a business decision, and they let him go. If you look at it, they sent him to Indianapolis where they could have sent him somewhere else. They sent him where they felt that though he would be comfortable. It's like, hey, you know what? Let's send you to Frank. Frank can take care of you. He'll get you right again. So we'll do that. When he went to Indianapolis, the owner basically just said, you know what? No, I don't want him no more because he ain't going to be right. We just spent all this money on him, so we got to let him go. Send him somewhere else. They sent him to Washington.
Look what he got.
Indy's like, what the hell do we do, man? Their own kid died.
Up, man. The last year Wentz was with y'all. He got like 4,000 yards and almost 30 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. It ain't like he stunk it up for Philadelphia. Yeah. And y'all extended them. Like you extended them the year you got rid of them. Like right before after y'all had Hurts, y'all already had Hurts and then extended them. It really didn't make any sense.
We had extended him already, and then we got Hurts. So we extended him during the offseason. Then we drafted for Hurts. Hurts is pretty much, as you look at it, as a insurance policy. And so the way Howie Roseman worked,
even that year, he still had 4,000 yards and like almost 30 touchdowns, though. Like no one had played better in that sense.
The way I look at it when it comes to Howie Roseman is the fact that when he sees someone, it's like, okay, yeah, this guy was messing up. Yeah, the people are talking about him in the dirt sheet. So I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna get some draft capital and I'm gonna put some pressure on you, because who's to say that Jalen Hurts is going to be there with Philadelphia next year?
Right.
He may just do great, but they may still go ahead and say, you know what? We got some great quarterbacks coming out of the draft. We'll pay them less money, and then we'll just go ahead and let you go and keep it moving.
And you got about 3 first-round picks you can trade up and get your boy in Alabama if you really wanted him.
We got 2 first rounders and we got a second rounder. But like you said, bottle that up and you're pretty much good to go. But I mean, that's how the business works.
You got the stash sitting behind old Hurts back there. You got the former flash in the pan Gardner Minshew sitting right behind Hurts. Yam said, "Oh man, I had a Philly fan pulling out for me when I was at Kings of Million in 2013 because he thought I said something about the Eagles and it wasn't even me, but I had my skins hat all the time." Yeah, it's just like you said. There's crazy people everywhere. Yeah, there certainly is, but
there's more that are Philly fans.
And y'all got bad gun laws up there.
And I always tell people that it's like not every Eagles fan is bad because
I actually met a really cool Eagles fan when I was at that game too. Just so happens he was from Arlington, Virginia. But yeah,
my brother, we grew up diehard Redskins fans. My brother is an Eagles fan. I don't know. He only did that to rebel against my parents, and it stuck. He did it in high school in the mid 90s, and it stuck. He's an Eagles fan to this day because we grew up, born and bred like you, raised into the team, and here we are.
You're no son of mine. That's what I be singing to him when he was my kid.
Let
me ask you this. All right, so we obviously know about Jalen Hurts. Let's move on from Jalen Hurts here.
Mm-hmm.
Matchup wise, who do you think we should be looking at as a matchup for the Eagles? What Eagles play on offense and defense should we be eyeballing matched up against a specific player of ours on the opposing side?
So I'm going to go ahead and say you're going to have to look at 2 players on the defensive line. You're going to have to look at Fletcher Cox if he decides to go ahead and play. He did show up last Monday night. He went ahead. He got through the line. He got that forced fumble. He got a sack. So that was looking good for him, showing that, I can still play at this level. But if they rotate him in with Jordan Davis, you're definitely going to have to look out for Jordan Davis. Reason why I say that is because, you just signed a veteran center, but how much time has he had with the offense to know the cadence and the calls and to understand what the protection is with the Washington line? So I definitely could see them having a field day, just pushing him off the line, if he doesn't know what the cadence is and in the snap count. So that's definitely something you got to watch out for right there. A lot of people will probably say like, well, what about Darius Slay? It all starts at the front line, and I just see that offensive line, being dominated by that Philadelphia defensive line on Sunday because of the fact that the center, your starting center, is out.
Yeah, but our backup is a starter because we're moving Wes Schweitzer over to center, and he's already been a starter. He was our starting guard.
Is he going to play?
Schweitzer's not even on the isn't even on the injury report.
I think he practiced.
I will say Jordan Davis is a monster. We when we had our draft stream, I watched a little bit of him in Georgia. Dude is a monster, absolute monster. Now on the depth chart, I see he plays behind Fletcher Cox.
Yes,
but so does that mean he's not getting starter reps? Are they rotating him in, or how are they playing Jordan Davis? Because I really liked him coming out of the draft, and he got picked 3 spots where we got Jahan Dotson. It was like it was Jordan Davis, then Kyle Hamilton, and a couple other picks, and we got Jahan Dotson.
So looking at what Jonathan Gannon has done, especially looking at game one, they took their foot off the gas. Second half, they just got destroyed. They only got beat by Detroit. Game 2 on Monday Night Football, Jonathan Gannon basically decided to say, you know what, I need to rotate Jordan Davis in more. You saw a lot more Jordan Davis on the field on Monday night than you did on Sunday in week 1. So I could definitely see more of that. And I could definitely probably see some 34 packages out there sometime. Right now we're playing a hybrid system, but I could definitely see them trying to switch it up to play like a 34 defense, but our base defense is a 43. but I could definitely see them trying to switch that up and what have you. But definitely see some more Jordan Davis because he has a knack for the ball and he's hungry, so he's definitely going to want to get that one. And I'm gonna go out there and put it right now. I could definitely see him get his first sack in this week 3 game.
Oof. I hope not. So you said your defensive line basically against our offensive lineman. Anything on offense? I mean, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas, AJ.
Personally, because as you've seen, week 1 it was AJ. Week 2, Devontae got back into a rhythm. You saw a little bit of Quez Watkins out there as well. You even saw some Zach out there as well. I honestly could see this being more of a tight end slot screen type of game, just to get the people out on the flat. Because at the end of the day, you all still have a dominant defensive front. Chase Young, I'm gonna be the first one to I'm probably not gonna be the first one to say this, but I will say, just like you were, checking out Jordan Davis and everything, man, I love me some Chase Young. That guy is a stud. He's freaking monster, and I'm one of the ones that I wish that he was playing right now, but of course he's injured. But when that guy is healthy, man, y'all front 4, front 7 is destructive, and it still is, even though one guy is out. So I could definitely see it being a lot more tight end. So I could see Dallas Goedert being a threat out there this weekend. I definitely see more Quez Watkins. You'll probably see AJ Brown get his reps and Devontae get his reps, but I think it's going to be more of a tight end screen type of game for us. Short slants, just to try to open up the field somewhat. But I don't see too many explosive plays in this game. I just don't. I really don't. And the other reason why is because it's familiarity. It's a rivalry game. They know us. We know y'all. So I really don't. I see it being more of a chess match because, again, Carson knows the defense. The defense knows Carson. So each other knows their flaws. So I just believe it's going to be definitely a chess match on Sunday.
I got a question for you. I noticed this. I was looking through the injury report, and a lot of guys were put on rest this week already. A couple of ones that noticed were Quez Watkins. He apparently had an illness, and he didn't practice at all Wednesday. Limited today.
Please be COVID.
Devontae Maddox and Hassan Reddick both been limited all week. You think they're going to make it to Sunday?
I think they're going to be fine. As you know, the league, they'll sit there and they'll put out an injury report. It's like, oh, they were limited. They're basically trying to make it seem as though like they're resting, but they are injured. They're probably just taking it easy on these guys right now because if you look at the spread, if you look at it, Darius should be on there because he was limping on that week 2 game. When he told his player like, "Hey, I got this. Go back on the sideline. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do this." So I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll go out there. They'll.
I was about to say, if you want to look at today, limited practice today. AJ Brown, Fletcher Cox, Landon Dickerson, Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Isaac Samalo, Darius Sway, and Josh Sweat.
Everybody
all limited today. That's rest.
Exactly.
Without rest. Yam says, I think the rain might be a factor for this game. I think it helps our receivers with their hands, to be honest. I also think that both teams are scoring 30 points. I know not much.
It's going to rain again?
I thought it was going to be nice. I'd have to check their weather report. You know what?
It's supposed to be like 60.
It's supposed to be a 50% chance of thunderstorms on Sunday.
Okay. We heard that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
exactly. So we'll see what happens.
Phil and I went to the Jacksonville game, and it poured, and then when we got to tailgating, it was just drizzling, and then there was a couple times where it poured for like 2 or 3 minutes and just stopped, and then the sun came out, and that bitch was just a sauna.
I know you forgot. You forget that DC was built on a swamp until that happens.
Man, yeah. Marcus says I think they're resting because they played Monday night, and Yam also says my other big worry, our mediocre defense is outside of our mediocre defense is our kicking game. We've been struggling with our kicker. We don't know if it's an injury that's not being disclosed, but we went for 2 was it 3 times in a row or 2 times in a row? And then
we had to go one time because we missed it the other time.
Yeah, and then he just missed the extra point. So we don't know what's going on with our kicker. But so next segment we'll ask you is Philly wins if. So give us, what does Philly need to do? What is the key to winning this game for Philly? And then we'll go give you our perspective. Washington wins if after. Go ahead.
Philadelphia needs to play a clean game. And what I mean by Philadelphia, because everybody gonna say like, well, what's a clean game? Philadelphia needs to play a clean game, and it all starts with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts needs to be protective of the ball. He needs to see what's going on. He needs to read his projections, and just make sure that he's putting the ball in the right places for receivers to get to it. The defense needs to definitely play mistake free. Don't let the receivers get over their heads and get those big plays off, because you guys got some fast receivers out there. And then you got some good running backs as well. So they just have to make sure that they have a clean game. Of course, there's going to be penalties here and there, but if they can lessen the penalties, they could come out there with the win with no problem.
Okay. So, Dev, let's go to you. Washington wins if.
Again, I say the same thing over and over again, but if we don't turn it over, I think the team with Hurts is 2-1 against us, but both of the 2 wins came against who's the quarterback I played last year? The guy was on practice squad.
Garrett Gilbert.
Yeah. Right. And the one win before that was another guy, I think, that came out the practice squad.
No, it was against Heineke.
Either way. Either way.
Practice squad.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The guy that counts the practice squad, right? So, and he's got a quarterback rating of 72. He's got 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He doesn't really play very well against Washington. I don't know if that's saying much, but it seems, I was talking to one of my friends today about how every now and then there's one team that always has your number. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about Jacksonville always beats the Colts. So I don't know why they blamed it on Wentz. They always beat them. The Vikings always beat Green Bay. No matter how bad Vikings are and how good Green Bay is, Minnesota wins that a lot of times, more often than they should. And I feel like Hurts is one of those guys that even when he plays bad against us, some kind of way, they find a way to edges. And every time it's because of turnovers. It's never because of what he does to us. It's always because of turnovers. So we have to nip that in the bud immediately, as Bernie Mac said on Players Club, immediately.
Immediately.
That's what we need to do.
All right. Phil.
We win if our defensive scheme is driven to force Hurts to make a decision on what he's going to do before he wants to do it. I think Hurts will beat you when he has time to process. He's not the fastest processing quarterback out there when it comes to reading the field, making a decision, right? So, and I've been beating this drum since Tuesday on Twitter. Cam Curl's going to be back. Cam Curl is supposed to play a lot of the role that we've had Jamin Davis doing in terms of covering that mid-range of the field. Well, now what do you do with Jamin Davis? You utilize that speed and you throw him into every gap you can all day long, right? Force Hurts to process what he's got to do and make a decision before he wants to. Even if that means occasionally you'll flush him out and he'll get a couple of runs. If you can make him decide to tuck it and run before he's comfortable with tucking and running, you're going to send him into another defender. You get Davis back there, he's fast enough that he might be able to, catch Hurts before Hurts can take off. I really think that needs to be the game plan. And I don't care if it's simple and it's something that you can, take care of. You still got to figure out which gap he's going to shoot. Just line him up in the middle and just have him fire left, right, center all day long. That's what I would do. Yeah. I would do what I can to get random pressure on Hurts, make him make the decision before he's comfortable making the decision.
That's fair. My thing's a little bit twofold, kind of like a hybrid of your guys. First and foremost, I think you have to put a spy on Jalen Hurts. And I think that person's got to be Jamin Davis because he's the most athletic linebacker we have. Second, our offense has to continue at the pace it has been going, because if you don't, we clearly will not win because our defense is not good right now. They're struggling. So if Jamin Davis has to spy Hurts and be effective and make him do the things that Phil said needs to be done, and our offense can't stop. They have to continue on. And if we just need our offense to not be bad, if they can be average, we got shot straight up.
Well, I mean, the Lions scored 35 points on them too.
Yeah, hey, so
break,
break that down for us. The Philly was ahead, and then all of a sudden I look at the score at the very end and it's 38-34 or something like that.
38-35.
Yeah. What happened for the Lions to come back in that game? You're muted, T.
You're muted.
You're muted. There you go.
All right, man. My earphones had like connected also and everything, but they let their foot off the gas. That was it.
Yeah.
In the first half, it was 21-7, and then all of a sudden the defense just fell asleep. And again, it all starts with Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon cannot get to his ways and play prevent defense. The old saying goes, when you play prevent defense, you're preventing yourself from winning.
Yep. Right. Straight up.
We know more than anybody.
Yam asks a question: what's the Eagles' depth like? Because we know ours is a little bit shaky. How does the Eagles' depth? How are their bench players?
I think for the first time since definitely the Super Bowl run, but even before the Super Bowl run, I hate to bring this up though, but
do it.
Even when we had the dream team, we had depth, but but it's definitely looking good. We definitely have the depth there. So if one guy goes out, we definitely got someone that we could plug in to get the job done. So that's definitely one thing that we're looking good at right now. So I'm not worried about that too much. But yes, I would love to see my starters continue to play at a tremendous level, because that's what they're there for. They're the starters. They're the ones that's going to give you that elite play. But we know that if something happens, we can plug somebody else in. And that's another reason why it's good to rotate the players, because you don't have to dog them out the entire time. You can put somebody else in there and the scheme will continue to flow. That's why I say, again, you got Fletcher Cox, you take him out, you got Jordan Davis. You got somebody that's going to complement one or the other. And even the same thing with our linebackers. We haven't seen anything with Nakobe Dean as much, but he's going to be there. He just got to get a chance to actually learn the scheme. Once he does that, he'll be good to go.
That's fair. Okay, let's move on to our final segment. Let's just go predictions, and we'll start with you. What do you feel this game's going to be?
I've been saying this at work all day.
Let's go. I write these down too. So what do you got?
27-14 Eagles.
27 low scoring.
You think we only scored 14 points?
27-14 Eagles.
You think we only scored 14 points?
Yeah.
Man, I like when we have guests on here that completely change what I think the score is going to be. I feel so disrespected by that I honestly felt like the Eagles were going to win. Now I'm not going to choose that just because I feel. No, but I'll go next. But I'm going to say, I say y'all win 40-34. It's a high scoring game.
40-34. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a shootout. I mean, I haven't seen much on defense from each side, honestly. I mean, y'all showed up against Minnesota, but Kirk Cousins playing on Monday Night Football, that's always a loss for him. I mean, that's not even fair. I mean, everybody's beating him on prime time or just Monday night. He wins on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays.
Oh boy.
I feel. So what do you got?
All right. Well, I'm not going to pull an LE and say 42-17 us like he did last week. I heard that and I was like, what? I have this feeling that this is going to be one of those games where we leave the game with the same bullshit arguments we have going into it as a fan base, which means we'll lose, but we'll lose in a way that's like there's a lot of positives you can take away from it as well, and some negatives. I don't I'm not necessarily sold on Jalen Hurts. I'm not, but he can maneuver, and we always seem to struggle against mobile quarterbacks. 33-31 Eagles.
Fair. I'm very close to you, Phil. I also feel the same way. I'm going to say 37-33 Eagles. And right now, the current line in Vegas is Eagles 6.5. So
yeah, that ain't happening.
Right, 6.5 points favorite for the Eagles. I think what they're trying to do is they know the Eagles have won their first two. They're trying to tease that, hey, they want everyone to jump in on the Washington. They can cover those 6.5 points, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. But Corey Lott, welcome to the show, brother. Thank you for joining. We got a couple predictions down here. Marcus says 24-23 Washington, and Corey says 35-24 Commanders. Yam says 24-21 Eagles. So I think we got a pretty good diversity between scoring predictions. I mean, but like you said, team, when we first started, it's the NFC East. Any given Sunday, familiarity. We could be 16-0. Y'all could be 1-16. Last game of the season, we could still lose. But that's just how it goes in the East. Just because you know what I'm saying. I don't know why. It's just there's something about it. It's hard, and maybe that's just how all division games are in the NFL. But man,
especially the East, we beat up on each other. That's what we do.
Yeah. And real quick before we do the last thing, I do want to show one thing that Dev sent me. It's a quick little stat muse. Jalen Hurts' stats against Washington. It's nothing crazy. It is only 3 games. And I will say one of these games he was pulled at halftime. This is when Doug Peterson final season. I think this is when
that game was a playoff berth.
We stumbled into the playoffs at 7-9 because they put nasty Nate Sudfeld in on the second half. I don't know why they pulled.
Talking about Nate Sudfeld's a more dynamic quarterback than Kirk Cousins. I legitimately heard that from Washington fans at one point.
Oh, really?
When you look back at the at the end of the game when the mics were on the players, even the players from Washington talked to Jalen Hurts and was just like, "You stay in the game, y'all win," because you were beating us. So,
well, we were winning. We were winning when he was pulled, but we also had,
But before he was pulled, we were winning.
No,
I feel like they had momentum.
He went up early and just never gave up the lead.
He wasn't beating us with his passing, but he was running all over us, and their offense just seemed to be moving. Yeah, it wasn't a very good passing. His offense was just moving when he was in there, and like I said, it was only 2 quarters, and I don't know. I don't think we had an answer for his mobility, not passing, but his mobility. We just
I think we still win that game, but because Hurts was just awful throwing the ball that game. He was like, what, 7 of 20?
Yeah,
that's not going to win you a game.
Yeah,
but the thing that gave the Eagles hope of winning that game is the fact that we were countering with the limping ghost of Alex Smith.
Yeah, the man, the peg leg, the man with one leg. Mm-hmm. God bless him. All that effort came back, and he did it for us.
And still crazy that he had the same injury as Joe Theismann on the same day.
Yep. It's
probably the same spot in the field.
Yeah, I heard that too. I didn't know about that though.
That's scary, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, we can't say the same spot though.
The best pass rusher in the game too.
We can't say the same. We can't say the same spot though, because when Joe hurt himself,
he was
that was at RFK. That was at RFK.
Well, it was a similar spot on the field of play.
Fair enough.
And like I said, Watt was at the time the best pass rusher in the game when he hit Smith. When Theismann got hurt, he got hit by Lawrence Taylor. So just think about there's a lot of that there, and unfortunately, medical science wasn't where it is now. Otherwise, Theismann may have been able to come back. He was younger than Smith when he got hurt.
Yeah, he had only been playing for
30s.
Yeah.
No, he had 30 years old. No. Theismann was still in his mid-30s, but
yeah.
Still. Well, no, he might have been the same age as Smith now I think about it, but Still,
I think he was like 30.
I will always cape for Joe Theismann. Dude was a lot better than a lot of people outside DC realize, and a lot of people inside DC.
Yeah. Good times. Well, hey, we got one more question for you. What is your greatest moment in your team's history? I know it's easy to say the Super Bowl, but something else. Like, is there a play? Is there something that's just so iconic, and not the Super Bowl itself? Like, is there?
It's got to be the quarterback.
Is there something
the
that
end zone,
just
right?
what do you got?
You know what? I got probably like my top 3, top 5 moments in Eagles history. The first one though, this is the one that I share with my dad. 4th and 26.
Against Washington? I'm just saying.
No.
Mitchell.
Against
Mitchell.
Green Bay. Yep. Freddie Mitchell. 4th and 26. He caught that ball against Green Bay Packers in the divisional round in the playoffs. I'll never forget that.
Thank God for my hands.
When was that?
I remember that. That was divisional playoffs.
That was 2000. That was the 2003 season.
Okay.
Yep. And I remember because I remember when it happened, and then my dad went and bought the shirt. And it was just like it's crazy because he still has that shirt too.
That was Donovan. That was Donovan, right?
That was Donovan.
Yeah.
Yep. The Super Bowl run in 2004 when McNabb scrambled for his life for like a good 20 seconds or so on Monday Night Football against Dallas. And then I hate to say this to you all, but Michael Vick on Monday Night Football.
Oh, the Monday Night Massacre.
When he played y'all.
That whole game. And we got Kevin Smith in the chat on YouTube. Vic to D-Jack in the Redskins Stadium. He's probably talking about that one.
My man Kevin, what's up, man?
He also
That's my buddy.
He also said the Miracle at Meadowlands. I'm not sure what that one is, but
that was the Sean Jackson punt return.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was Miracle 2. The first one was that stupid fumble recovery in the 70s.
Yeah. The other one was
that was ran the wrong way by Herm Edwards, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Herm Edwards. Yeah.
And he's been
over. He also is famous for running the wrong way back to the end zone, right?
No, that was Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall, okay.
Yeah. The D-Jax one, that was didn't the Giants were not supposed to punt to him and they punted to him, if I'm not mistaken.
Matt Dodge lost his career in that game.
Deshaun Jackson was better for us.
He was good for us.
Was better for us. He was better for us, man. Look, the numbers don't lie. He was better for us. And he won more.
I don't know about all that. I'll take a look.
Look it up.
I got one last question for my Philly dude over here. All right. Beans Cassidy or Meek Mill to pick one.
Freeway, man.
Freeway.
Even though what we do is wrong. Hey, one of the hardest. I don't care what anybody. I listen to that song every day at work, by the way. It's my song.
Freeway lost his entire career off of a VHS tape freestyle.
Hey, Freeway, he did. Cassidy ate him up. But for real, though. But keep it real, though. Even though what we do is wrong, he had Jay and Beans on there, and he outshined all of them.
Pick one. You better pick correctly.
Hold on. You said Beans, Cassidy, and Meek?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Hey, go on. Can I eliminate one?
Damn, who you want to eliminate?
Who you want to eliminate?
It's crazy because I can't even eliminate none of them, honestly, because I like all three. Like,
yeah.
Because it's hard to choose because
I ain't gonna lie. Okay, all right.
When you think of
when you think for Freeway, Flip Side is still my jam, but still.
Nah, the one he did with Jay-Z, that song called Higher with Jay-Z.
You put me on the spot with that one, man, because I rock with Cassidy.
Man,
and of course, Beans. I mean, come on now, they need the street after Beans. I mean, come on now, you know.
But which effect though? Which verse is better? What we do are two words for a freeway though.
Yeah, because when you think of appreciate it, Kevin. Yeah.
It's like Cassidy and Freeway about to battle again.
Hey, Cassidy gonna tear his ass up. You don't want no problems like that. In that kind of arena.
Adolfo
In that kind of arena.
Freeway
on what we do and Freeway on 2 words.
See, this gets the crowd's hype. Marcus says Beanie Siegel.
I mean,
throw
like
Cassidy
I said,
away.
I can't throw Cassidy away, man, because he a hustler, you know. I
felt like Cassidy's career should have been a little more than what it was.
Kevin says Bean's the hardest. You know what? We gotta table this for a barbershop talk. So what we do sometimes in the off season, we were doing a barbershop where we just get on here and we talk about whatever.
Yeah.
And so like stuff like this is what really we talk about and stuff like that. Maybe we'll bring you back on for one of those. And
oh man, absolutely, man, absolutely.
Get you going. But
best
man,
Philly rappers.
Best. I don't know how long the list would be. I mean, you got the movie. You got
that long of a list.
Yeah, you got Meek Mill too.
Yeah. Hey,
I think what Dose is number 5.
So
anybody who watches battle rap knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, isn't Coast Contra from Philly too? If everyone's following the Coast Contra train,
Coast Contra,
I think they're from Philly as well. Up and comers, y'all go check them out.
They don't look like Philly dudes, but they
certainly are. But hey, Terrance, T, Mean Green, thank you so much for joining us, man. This has been great learning about the Eagles. You know, getting it from what we call the enemy intel. But as we shut this thing down, man, hey, some shout outs, man. Do you have anybody, anything you want to shout out before we break this thing down?
I mean, you know, definitely shout out to my dad for definitely making me an Eagles fan. You know, love him to death. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to my guys in my group chat that I have a page on Facebook. It's called Eagles Nation. Shout out to my admins. One of my guys, Kevin Smith, he's online right now. But you know, just everybody in Eagles Nation, everybody in Washington Nation, you know, thanks you all for being a part of this podcast. Definitely appreciate you all, you know, allowing me to be a part of it. It's been fun. And I definitely hope that y'all bring me back on again because this was great, man. This is definitely great.
Yeah, for sure. And after this, make sure you send me that link. So if you're listening to this on the replay, down in the description, you will find a link to that website, that Eagles Nation website that T was just talking about. So we'll post that in here on the way out. Phil, what you got?
Shout out to everybody who is going to go to the game on Sunday that is wearing burgundy and gold. Show up, show out. If you're even considering it, show up, show out. I mean, I'm actually trying to maneuver my own way into finding a way up to the game, but just I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. Just so there could be one more Commanders fan in a spot that would be taken by some walk-up Eagles fan from Northern Virginia to decide just to show up. So shout out to anybody who's going to the game. And if you're thinking about going to the game,
do it.
Preliminary shout out if you actually go.
That's right. That's right. Hey, shout out to all the people that joined us. Hey, Yam, thanks for joining, man. Marcus, we appreciate you. Kevin, just giving us a reminder. Only that one guy from Philly is in Coast. I think it's to do with the long hair, the one who really goes into story mode on the never freestyle. Adolfo Real says Will Smith. We forgot about Will Smith, Philly rappers.
Yeah, Will Smith and Black Thought, bro.
Yeah.
Lil Uzi Vert, all of dudes from Eve.
Corey says, give you fist pound. Corey Lott with the fist pound up to Mean Green. And yeah, 2 of them from Twins and Roxons. And shout out to Commanders Nation. Yeah, shout out to anyone else I missed in the chat. Ref the District, Yam, Marcus, Corey, Frederick Brown, our old boy from Southeast. And who else did I miss? Anybody else? Did I miss anybody else? I think that's everyone. We appreciate you. Dev, you got any shout outs?
Shout out to Gilly the Kid. Nobody mentioned him. Will Smith.
Gilly the Ghost Rider.
Asher Roth. I forgot that dude. Remember the white dude? He was pretty cool for like a week. But now, Philly rap's cool, man. But we're going to beat the Breaks off Philly Sunday. Hell to the W's.
Hey to the
I don't have any shout outs.
One more shout out to Adolfo Spanish Rice Amaya Jr. This is the first time we've seen you in here, man. We appreciate you topping in. Make sure you go hit that sub button on YouTube and join us on the next live stream. So we appreciate you. Hey, everyone. Big game on Sunday. It's a divisional rivalry. We're favored to not win this game by 6.5 points, but you like how I flipped that on it, you know?
Matter. Make it happen.
Hey,
Make
T,
it happen.
we appreciate you, man. As always, we love everybody. Please tune in. We're going to go in Spaces on Sunday morning for a little pregame chat on Twitter, so you can find us there. So as always, peace and hey-o.